Welcome to the beginning of something truly transformational. In just 7 days, you can learn how to speak English like a pro. It might sound too good to be true, but with the right mindset, techniques, and dedication, it's entirely possible. Picture yourself speaking confidently in meetings, holding conversations with ease, and finally understanding what it feels like to have full control over your communication. Now imagine how life-changing that could be in your career, relationships, and self-esteem. English fluency isn't just a skill, it's a key that opens doors to the world. Before we dive into how you can master English in just 7 days, let's talk about a truth that many don't realize. Most people struggle to speak English not because they lack intelligence or don't have enough practice. The real reason? Fear. Fear of making mistakes, of being judged, of sounding foolish. This fear cripples progress. But here's something shocking. The best English speakers are the ones who've made the most mistakes. Fluency is built through trial and error, not perfection. So the first step is to shift your mindset. You will make mistakes, and that's good, because that's how you grow. Fluency isn't just about speaking without pauses or using perfect grammar. It's about being able to express your thoughts clearly and understand others. It's about having natural conversations where you don't have to overthink every word. Fluency comes from the ability to respond quickly, think in English, and feel confident even when you don't know every word. Here's the secret. Fluency is not built by memorizing grammar rules. Yes, grammar is important, but it should never be your main focus. Think of grammar as a supportive structure, not the foundation. The real foundation is your ability to communicate even with mistakes. If you focus too much on being grammatically perfect, you'll get stuck and your confidence will take a hit. The goal is to communicate. Perfection can come later. Why you must learn English. You might be asking yourself, why should I even bother to learn English? Well, let's be honest. English is the language of the modern world. If you want to succeed globally, connect with people from different cultures, access the best educational resources, and open up career opportunities, English is your passport. More than 1.5 billion people speak English, making it the language of business, technology, science, and even entertainment. Whether you're trying to grow your business, land a dream job, or travel the world, being fluent in English is no longer a luxury. It's a necessity. But here's an even deeper reason. Learning English boosts your self-confidence like nothing else. It's not just about learning a language. It's about transforming yourself. You'll start to feel capable of achieving things you once thought were impossible. English fluency gives you a voice in the world, and nothing is more empowering than that. Why people can't speak English. The real obstacles. Now, let's address why so many people struggle. Most learners don't realize that the biggest obstacle isn't a lack of resources or even time. The problem is how they approach learning. People rely on outdated methods, like memorizing grammar rules, focusing on vocabulary lists, and only practicing once or twice a week. But here's the hard truth. If you don't immerse yourself in English, you won't learn to speak fluently. Another problem is translation thinking. People often think in their native language and then try to translate their thoughts into English, which slows them down and makes them feel unsure. To speak like a pro, you need to start thinking directly in English. How to talk in English. Like a pro, speaking English fluently is about practice and immersion. Start by focusing on small, everyday conversations. Don't aim for big, complex sentences right away. Instead, practice talking about your day, asking simple questions, or narrating what you're doing. Over time, these small habits will build fluency. When you talk, focus on your tone and body. Language. Speaking confidently doesn't just come from words. It comes from how you carry yourself. Even if you're not sure about your grammar, speak with conviction. Remember, the goal is communication, not perfection. As long as the person you're speaking to understands you, you're winning. How to learn grammar without getting stuck. Grammar is essential, but many learners get lost in the details and never move forward. The best way to learn grammar is through context and use it. Instead of memorizing complex rules, start noticing how grammar works when you read or listen to English. You'll begin to see patterns, and these patterns are more useful than rules alone. Another tip, don't stop to correct every mistake. When you're speaking, just keep going. You can always reflect later and improve. The more you speak, the more natural grammar will become. Why you must speak English regularly. The truth is, you have to speak English every day. You can't just study it, you have to live it. Think of it as going to the gym. If you only work out once a week, you won't see results. But if you commit to exercising every day, even if it's just for 10 minutes, you'll see major improvements over time. The same goes for speaking English. Make it part of your daily life. Talk to yourself in English, even if no one is around. Narrate your actions. Describe what you see, or reflect on your day in English. The more you speak, the faster you'll become fluent. Why you must listen to English constantly. If you want to speak English like a pro, you must listen to English as much as possible. It's simple. The more you listen, the better your brain gets at understanding the language. Listening helps you learn the natural flow of conversation, pronunciation, and intonation. Here's the trick. Listen to English that you enjoy. It could be podcasts, YouTube videos, TV shows, or even music. When you enjoy what you're listening to, you won't even realize you're learning. Plus, the more varied your listening materials, the more you'll absorb. Why you must read English to enhance fluency. Reading is often overlooked, but it's a critical part of becoming fluent. Reading exposes you to new vocabulary, sentence structures, and ideas. When you read, you reinforce the language patterns in your mind, which helps you when it comes to speaking. But don't just read anything. Find material that's interesting and relevant to your life. It could be news articles, blog posts, or even short stories. The key is to read something that you're excited about, because the more engaged you are, the more you'll retain. Now that we've covered the basics, it's time to get into the heart of what will truly transform the way you speak English. If you're serious about learning English like a pro, this is where you need to pay attention. because these next steps will set you apart from everyone else trying to learn the language. How to think in English, the real game changer. Most people don't realize this, but one of the biggest reasons they can't speak English fluently is because they're always thinking in their native language first and then translating into English. This translation process is slow, confusing, and often results in awkward sentences. Here's the secret. Fluent speakers think directly in English, but how do you do that? It starts with small steps. Start thinking about your day in English. When you wake up in the morning, think to yourself, what will I do today? Not in your native language, but in English. When you look around your room, start naming the objects in English. When you're walking down the street, describe what you see in English. The more you train your brain to think in English, the faster you'll become fluent. Create your own English world. One of the fastest ways to learn English is to surround yourself with the language as much as possible. It might sound strange, but you need to create an English world around you. How do you do that? Change the language on your phone and computer to English. This way, you're interacting with English every single day. Start following social media accounts, YouTube channels, and podcasts in English. Your newsfeed should be filled with English content so that every time you scroll, you're learning. Surround yourself with people who speak English. If you don't have English-speaking friends, join online communities or language exchange groups where you can practice regularly. You need to immerse yourself. The more English you're exposed to, the more natural it will feel. The goal is to make English part of your everyday life, not something you do for 30 minutes and then forget about. Why confidence is the key to speaking English like a pro. Let me tell you something crucial. Confidence is everything. The reason some people seem to speak English so easily is not because they know every grammar rule or every vocabulary word. It's because they speak with confidence. They aren't afraid of making mistakes. They know that even if they mess up, the person listening will still understand them. But how do you build this kind of confidence? 1. Fake it till you make it. This might sound cliché, but it works. Start speaking as if you're already fluent. Stand tall, speak clearly, and act like you know exactly what you're saying. Even if you don't feel confident, your brain will eventually catch up with your body language and tone. 2. Stop worrying about mistakes. The truth is, native speakers don't care about your mistakes. They're more impressed that you're making the effort to speak their language. The more you focus on getting your message across, the less you'll worry about being perfect. The power of practice, consistency, is key. No matter how many tips and tricks you learn, nothing beats regular practice. If you want to speak English like a pro in just 7 days, you need to commit to practicing every single day. But here's the thing. Practice doesn't mean just studying grammar or memorizing vocabulary. You need to actively speak English. Set a daily goal, even if it's just speaking for 5 minutes a day. Do it consistently. Talk to yourself in the mirror. Speak with friends or record yourself. The more you speak, the more natural it will become. Why you must listen to English more than you speak. Here's another secret that most people don't realize. Listening is more important than speaking. The more you listen, the better you'll understand how the language works. Listening helps you improve your pronunciation, pick up new vocabulary, and understand the rhythm and flow of English. If you want to speak English like a pro, you need to listen to native speakers as much as possible. Here's what you can do. Watch movies or TV shows in English, but with English subtitles. This will help you connect the sounds with the words. Listen to podcasts, audiobooks, or even YouTube videos in English. The more you expose yourself to real conversations, the faster you'll pick up natural speech patterns. Reading is often underrated when it comes to learning how to speak fluently, but it's one of the most powerful tools you have. When you read, you're training your brain to recognize sentence structures, vocabulary, and even grammar without even realizing it. Reading is like a workout for your brain, and the more you do it, the stronger your understanding of English will become. Here's how you can make reading a fun and effective part of your learning. Start with materials you enjoy. If you like reading about sports, technology, or fashion, find articles, blogs, or books in English that cover those topics. When you enjoy what you're reading, you're more likely to stick with it. Don't worry about understanding every single word. Focus on the overall meaning. You can always look up new words later. What's important is that you get used to seeing English in action. Learning a language doesn't have to be boring or frustrating. In fact, if you find ways to make learning fun, you'll be more motivated to keep going, and your progress will skyrocket. Here's how you can make English learning something you look forward to every day. 1. Turn learning into a game. Challenge yourself to learn a new word or phrase every day and use it in a conversation. Reward yourself when you meet your goals. You can also use language apps or games that turn learning into fun challenges. 2. Mix learning with your hobbies. If you like cooking, watch cooking videos in English. If you love music, listen to English songs and try to understand the lyrics. When you combine English with things you already enjoy, it won't feel like studying. It'll feel like fun. 3. Track your progress. One of the most ATLWL motivating things you can do is track your improvement. Every week, record yourself speaking English and listen back to earlier recordings. You'll be amazed at how far you've come. And this will give you the motivation to keep going. 4. How to build your English speaking muscle. Just like building muscle at the gym, you need to build your English speaking muscle by practicing regularly and challenging yourself. Here's how. 1. Start small. If you're just starting out, don't worry about having long conversations. Start with small, simple sentences. As you get more comfortable, slowly increase the complexity of what you're saying. 2. Speak with a partner. Find a language partner who can help you practice. This could be a friend, family member, or even someone online. The more you practice speaking with others, the more confident you'll become. 3. Don't be afraid to pause. When you're speaking English, it's okay to take a moment to think about what you want to say. Pausing is natural. even for native speakers. Don't feel like you need to rush. Your words. 4. How to unlock your English vocabulary. If you want to speak English like a pro, you need to have a strong vocabulary. A lot of learners feel stuck because they don't know enough words to express themselves fully. Here's the secret. Building a huge vocabulary doesn't have to be boring or difficult. You just need the right strategies. 1. Word clusters. Learn by themes. Instead of trying to memorize random words, learn words in clusters or themes. For example, if you're learning about food, don't just learn apple and banana. Learn a whole set of food-related vocabulary like cook, recipe, delicious, bake, and ingredients. This helps your brain connect ideas and makes it easier to remember the words. Action step. Each day pick a theme, like family, travel, emotions, or weather, and learn 10 to 15 words related to that theme. You'll start seeing how vocabulary builds naturally around topics, making it easier to speak about them fluently. 2. Use synonyms to expand your vocabulary instantly. A powerful trick to improve your English fluency is to learn synonyms for common words. For example, instead of always using happy, learn to say joyful, cheerful, delighted, or thrilled. This gives you a range of ways to express the same idea, making your speech sound more sophisticated. Action step. Pick a common word you use often and find 5 synonyms. Practice using these words in sentences until they feel natural. 3. The power of phrasal verbs. Native English speakers use phrasal verbs all the time, and understanding them can immediately make you sound more fluent. Phrasal verbs are combinations of verbs and prepositions like give up, to stop trying, look after, to take care of, and get along, to have a good relationship. Action step. Start incorporating phrasal verbs into your everyday conversations. You can start with easy ones like wake up, give up, and take off, and gradually move to more complex ones like bring up to mention something, or figure out to solve something. Why understanding different English accents will supercharge your skills. One thing that holds people back is getting used to just one type of English accent. English is spoken differently all around the world, from British English to American, Australian, and Indian English. If you want to become truly fluent, you need to understand these different accents. It's not just about learning one version of English, but being able to communicate globally. 1. Exposure to global English. By listening to different accents, you'll ask to train your ear to understand English, no matter where it's spoken. This will make you more flexible and able to engage with people from all over the world. Action step. Watch videos or TV shows in different English accents, British, American, Australian, etc. Try to identify key differences in pronunciation, vocabulary, and even expressions. 2. Learn local slang and expressions. Each English-speaking country has its own set of slang words and expressions. Learning these can make you sound more like a native speaker. For example, in British English, mate means friend, while in American English, you might say buddy or dude. These little details will set your English apart. Action step. Learn 10 slang words from different countries. You'll be surprised at how much more authentic your English sounds when you incorporate a bit of local flavor. How pronunciation can make or break your fluency. You might know all the words, grammar, and even have great listening skills. But if your pronunciation is off, people might still struggle to understand you. Perfecting your pronunciation is the final piece of the puzzle to becoming truly fluent. 1. Shadowing technique. The ultimate pronunciation hack. One of the most effective ways to improve your pronunciation is the shadowing technique. This involves listening to a native speaker and repeating what they say as quickly and accurately as possible. This trains your mouth to make the right sounds and your brain to recognize natural speech patterns. Action step. Pick a YouTube video, TED Talk, or podcast where the speaker's English is clear. Play a short sentence, pause, and repeat it exactly as you heard it. Focus on the intonation, stress, and rhythm of their speech. 2. Record and compare your pronunciation. A powerful way to improve is to record yourself speaking and compare it to native speakers. When you listen back, you'll notice which words are duddo, sounds you need to work on. Action step. Record yourself reading a paragraph out loud, then listen to the same paragraph being read by a native speaker and compare. Repeat this exercise until your pronunciation sounds natural. The power of body language in speaking English. Here's a little-known fact. Body language can actually improve your spoken English. How? It's simple. Communication is not just about words. It's also about how you present yourself. When you use confident body language, it helps you feel more confident, which in turn makes your English sound better. 1. Speak with your hands. When you talk in English, use your hands to emphasize what you're saying. Studies show that using gestures helps people remember words more easily. It also makes your speech more dynamic and engaging. Action step. The next time you practice speaking English, use hand gestures to match your words. For example, when you say big, open your arms wide, or when you say small, pinch your fingers together. 2. Stand tall, speak strong. Your posture affects your voice. If you're slouched over, your voice will sound weak. But if you stand tall, your voice will be strong and clear. Action step. Whenever you practice speaking English, stand or sit up straight. Keep your shoulders back and head high. This simple change will immediately make you sound more confident. How to develop a routine that guarantees fluency. Fluency doesn't happen overnight, but with a solid routine, you can speed up the process dramatically. The key to success is consistency, not perfection. 1. The daily practice plan. Every day, dedicate a specific amount of time to practicing your English. But here's the trick. Don't just do the same thing every day. Mix it up. One day, you might focus on listening, another day on speaking, another on vocabulary. Action step. Create a weekly plan where each day focuses on a different skill. Listening, speaking, reading, vocabulary, pronunciation, and writing. 2. Use the 80/20 rule, the Pareto principle, or the 80/20 rule says that 80% of your results come from 20% of your efforts. In language learning, this means that focusing on the most useful words and phrases will give you the biggest improvement. Action step. Learn the 1,000 most common English words. These words make up the majority of everyday conversations and will give you the biggest boost in fluency. Surround yourself with success. The English Mastermind approach. Learning English isn't just about books and apps. It's about surrounding yourself with the right people. Imagine being in a group where everyone is committed to improving their English. That's what you need to create. 1. Join or create an English learning group. Find people who are on the same journey as you. This could be an online group, a WhatsApp chat, or a weekly Zoom call. The idea is to hold each other accountable and share progress. Action step. Join an English learning group online or create your own. Set weekly goals together, share resources, and practice speaking with each other. 2. Learn from the masters. Look for mentors or people who have already achieved fluency in English. These could be YouTubers, bloggers, or friends. Study their habits, learn from their mistakes, and apply their techniques. How to stay motivated. When learning gets tough, everyone hits a point where they feel stuck or discouraged. But the difference between those who give up and those who succeed is motivation. Here's how to keep going even when it feels difficult. 1. Set clear, achievable goals. You need to know why you're learning English. Is it for a job? To travel? To watch movies? Without subtitles? Having a clear reason will keep you motivated when things get tough. Action step. Write down your goals for learning English and put them somewhere you'll see them every day. This will remind you why you started and keep you focused. 2. Celebrate small wins. Fluency takes time, so it's important to celebrate the small victories along the way. Did you have your first conversation in English? Did you understand a new word without looking it up? Celebrate these moments. They're proof you're making progress. Action step. Keep a journal of your progress. Each time you achieve something new, write it down. You'll be amazed at how far you've come when you look back at your entries. Mastering English idioms and expressions. The hidden tool of native speakers. Learning idioms is one of the most powerful ways to sound more like a native speaker. Idioms are expressions whose meanings are not immediately obvious from the words they contain, but they are used constantly in everyday conversation. 1. Unlock the power of common idioms. Native speakers use idioms to express complex ideas quickly. If you can learn and use even a few of them, it will drastically improve your fluency. Idioms like break the ice, to start a conversation, hit the nail on the head, to be exactly right, or under the weather, to feel ill. Make your speech more natural and engaging. Action step. Learn 5 new idioms every week and use them in your conversations. Practice not just understanding them, but actually using them when you talk to someone in English. 2. Use expressions to sound natural English. It's full of little expressions that native speakers use all the time without thinking. For example, "What's up?" is used instead of "How are you?" or "No worries" is used instead of It's okay. Learning these will make your English sound more casual and less formal, which is key to sounding like a native speaker. Action step. Watch English-speaking YouTubers or TV shows and write down any expressions they use. Try using them in your conversations to see how they fit. How to think in English. The mental shift that changes everything. One of the biggest differences between intermediate and fluent English speakers is that fluent speakers don't translate in their heads, they think directly in English. Thinking in English is the ultimate goal because it removes the extra step of translating from your native language. 1. Start small. Use simple English thoughts. Begin with basic thoughts in English. For example, when you're getting dressed, think, I'm going to wear my red shirt today. When you're eating, think, this sandwich tastes good. This builds a habit of using English for everyday things. Action step. Set aside 10 minutes every day where you focus only on thinking in English. During that time, don't allow yourself to think in your native language at all. 2. Narrate your day in English. As you go about to your day, try to mentally narrate what's happening in English. For example, if you're cooking, think, Al, I'm cutting vegetables. I'm turning on the stove. I'm waiting for the water to boil. This helps you practice vocabulary related to your daily activities. Action step. Pick one activity each day to narrate in English, either out loud or silently in your mind. How to understand English humor. Humor is a huge part of culture, and understanding jokes and humor in English is a sign of advanced fluency. But humor can be tricky because it often relies on wordplay, cultural references, or subtle meanings. 1. Learn puns and wordplay. A pun is a joke that plays with the different meanings of words, or words that sound similar but have different meanings. For example, I'm reading a book on anti-gravity. It's impossible to put down. This kind of humor is common in English and can be a fun way to challenge your language skills. Action step. Start with simple puns and try to understand why they're funny. Then try creating your own puns or jokes using new words you learn. 2. Cultural references and humor. A lot of English humor comes from cultural references, things like TV shows, movies, or famous people. To fully understand these jokes, it helps to immerse yourself in English-speaking culture. Action step. Watch English comedy shows or stand-up comedy. If there's a joke you don't understand, look it up online and learn the cultural reference behind it. How to use mind mapping to organize and expand your English knowledge. Mind mapping is a powerful learning technique that helps you visualize your thoughts and organize information. It's particularly useful for language learning because it lets you group words, ideas, and grammar rules in a way that makes them easier to remember. 1. Create vocabulary mind maps. Instead of making boring lists of vocabulary, create mind maps. Start with a central word, like travel, and draw lines to related words, like airport, luggage, vacation, etc. This allows you to see how words are connected and will help you remember them better. Action step. Pick a topic you're learning about, such as food or emotions, and create a mind map with as many related words as possible. 2. Grammar mind maps. You can also use mind mapping to understand grammar rules. For example, if you're learning verb tenses, start with present tense in the middle and branch out to examples, rules, and exceptions. Action step. Take one grammar concept you're prodding, struggling with, and create a mind map to visualize the rules and examples. The art of English storytelling. Speak like a native by telling stories. Storytelling is one of the most powerful ways to improve your English fluency. When you can tell a story in English, it shows you have control over the language, and it's also a fun way to practice speaking. 1. Learn how to structure a story. Every good story has a beginning, middle, and end. The beginning introduces the characters and setting. The middle presents a problem, and the end shows how the problem is solved. Practice telling stories using this simple structure. Action step. Think of a simple event that happened in your life, like going to a new place or meeting someone new. Practice telling the story in English, focusing on using correct past tense verbs and describing emotions. 2. Use descriptive language. The more details you add, the more interesting your stories will be. Describe people, places, and feelings in as much detail as possible. This also helps you expand your vocabulary and improve your speaking skills. Action step. Next time you tell a story, add details about how things looked, felt, or smelled. Instead of just saying, I went to a restaurant, say, I went to a cozy restaurant with wooden tables and the smell of freshly baked bread filled the air. How to use music and songs to improve English. Listening to English music can improve your language skills in a fun and engaging way. Songs help you learn new vocabulary, pronunciation, and sentence structures. Plus, the repetition in music makes it easier to remember words and phrases. 1. Sing along to learn pronunciation. One of the best ways to improve your pronunciation is by singing along to your favorite English songs. Singing helps you practice the rhythm and melody of the language, which is important for sounding fluent. Action step. Pick a song you like, listen to it several times, and then start singing along. Focus on how the singer pronounces words and try to copy their pronunciation. 2. Analyze song lyrics for new vocabulary. Songs are full of useful vocabulary and expressions. Pay attention to the lyrics. Look up any words you don't understand and try to use them in your conversations. Action step. Choose a song you like. Print out the lyrics and highlight any new words or phrases. Look up their meanings and practice using them in sentences. Immersive learning. How to surround yourself with English without traveling. You don't need to move to an English-speaking country to immerse yourself in the language. There are ways to create an English-speaking environment no matter where you live. 1. Change your phone and social media to English. A quick and easy way to immerse yourself in English is to switch your phone, apps, and socializer media to English. This forces you to think in English whenever you use your phone. Action step. Change your phone's language settings to English and follow English-speaking influencers on Instagram, YouTube, or TikTok. This will expose you to daily English content. 2. Surround yourself with English. Media. From movies to podcasts to audiobooks, there's no shortage of English content available. Make it a habit to listen to or watch something in English every day. Action step. Pick a podcast in English that interests you and listen to one episode a day. This will improve your listening skills, vocabulary, and understanding of natural speech. How to overcome the fear of speaking English in public. One of the biggest obstacles to fluency is the fear of speaking in front of others. Many learners feel embarrassed about making mistakes or not being understood. Here's the truth. The only way to get over this fear is to face it head on. You don't need to jump into long, complex conversations right away. Start small. Practice introducing yourself, ordering food in English, or asking for directions. The more you do it, the easier it will get. Action step. Set a goal to have at least one conversation in English every day, no matter how short it is. This could be a chat with a friend, ordering at a restaurant, or even talking to yourself in the mirror. Fear often comes from negative thoughts like, I'm going to make mistakes, or people will laugh at me. Replace these thoughts with positive thoughts like, I'm improving every day, or it's okay to make mistakes because that's how I learn. Positive self-talk builds confidence and makes it easier to speak in English without fear. Action step. Every time you feel nervous about speaking English, remind yourself that mistakes are part of the learning process. Celebrate the small victories, like successfully completing a conversation, no matter how short or simple. In summary, your path to English mastery. Learning. English isn't just about memorizing vocabulary or grammar rules. It's about consistently practicing in creative ways, immersing yourself in the language, and being able to learn. And pushing through your fears. From mastering idioms, thinking directly in English, and telling engaging stories, to using music and humor to sharpen your skills. The journey is full of exciting opportunities. Remember, fluency comes with time, practice, and persistence. Every step you take brings you closer to confidently expressing yourself in English. Make your learning fun, diverse, and personalized to your interests, and you'll reach your goals before you know it. Let's continue to stay motivated and embrace the process, knowing that the best version of yourself as an English speaker is just around the corner. Keep pushing forward, and success will follow.